So our last speaker before we get to the questions is Myles Hamby, who is the access coordinator here for the Eastern Market, who's actually going to talk to you about what that actually means. Okay? So, if you would, please.
I was told to stand in front of here for the videoing, so the sun wasn't in my face. So, hello everybody. How's everyone doing today? Good, good. So, as he said, my name is Myles Hamby. I'm the food access coordinator with Eastern Market. I work for the nonprofit organization that manages the market and serves as the economic development organization for this whole district. And so we are the largest historic market in the country. We've been around since 1891. We're actually on the site of former farmland. You will notice the French names as our street names. Those are former the names of French family farms that used to be here, and they started selling their food here, and then they built that shed in 1891, and that was part of the start of this market. And it's got a lot of history to it. There's a lot of farmers here that whose families have been here for multiple generations. And I talk to farmers at the wholesale market that tell me when they came here with their granddad in a horse and carriage. And that's the kind of legacy that is here at the market. And it's just, it's something that is really, really neat to be a part of. And I think what also makes us really unique amongst markets around the country is that we are in a working food district. And so we have cold storage, we have food processing, we have different butchers, and all in our district. And so we're really developing a food hub here that supports a variety of different activities around food, from retail to growing to food entrepreneurs that are looking to start their own business. We have the community kitchen that just started, the Eastern Market Community Kitchen we just built in Shed 5. And so we're really looking at issues of building a just food system from a holistic level, working with partners like Jerry Ann from North End Christian CDC and Ashley from Grown in Detroit. And so I want to talk just a little bit about so I'm the food access coordinator. I kind of want to touch on what the heck does that phrase food access mean, and kind of try to bust a myth that I think is common out there about food access issues, and then just talk a little bit further about what we're doing as a community to try to alleviate some of those food access issues. Now, this is a really large topic, and so there's no way that in the next 7 minutes or however much longer I have, I'm going to touch on everything. And so I just want to hit on a couple points just to get the ideas flowing in our head. And so when we think about the phrase food access, another phrase that gets thrown out there is food security or food insecurity. And what does it mean for someone to be food insecure or not have access to food, right? And so they're facing one or multiple barriers that are preventing them from thriving, from accessing the proper nutrition that they need. And that can be a whole range of issues, right? Unfortunately, our census data statistics say that the color of your skin, your socioeconomic status, your zip code can be a determining factor of whether you're food secure or food insecure. And those are some heavy things to tackle. And I think that also those parameters, those factors can be a determining factor of your health as well. And I know that when we look at when we see people that are making poor health choices, it's really easy to just go, you need to just make a different choice, right? And kind of point the blame on the people for choosing the unhealthy food item over the healthy item. It's really easy to point that finger. But I kind of want to challenge that and say that there's a larger structural inequalities that are facing people that are food insecure. And I think that those are the true underlying issues of food insecurity that people face. For example, we know that processed food tends to be less expensive than produce or healthier food options, right? And so we look at, okay, why, if someone is a low-income family and they are trying to provide food for their family, they may need to buy that less expensive food that is not as healthy to feed their family, right? And that's a real decision that low-income people have to face, and that is, and so we look at okay, why is that food cheaper? We look at, okay, what government policies are in place that make certain unhealthy food items cheaper, that then businesses then take those items and scientifically create addictive foods that are unhealthy for people, that make people want to come back for more, right? And so there's something called the bliss point, which companies spend millions of dollars investing in finding the bliss point to design the perfect potato chip, so it has the right amount of crunch, the right amount of saltiness, the right amount of fat. And I'm not exaggerating with this. This is real. I mean, millions of dollars are spent on this so that you keep coming back for more. So they leverage the lower cost food item to create an addictive product, right? And so, who would need to buy the lower cost food item in order to support their family? Low-income people. And so these are some large issues, right? And I'm barely scratching the surface on this, but we're dealing with large structural inequalities and policies that are in place that have caused a lot of these issues of food access and food insecurity that we face. And so there's a lot there. I know I just threw out a lot, but I want to just real briefly talk about some of the things that we're doing as a community to address some of these issues that we're facing. I know Ashley alluded to a lot of communities in the city that don't maybe have access to higher quality grocery stores. I'm here to tell you that there's a network of markets called Detroit Community Markets. Jerry Ann referred to the market that she runs, that the Oakland Avenue Farmers Market, which operates on Saturdays. They're one of several farm stands, mobile markets, farmers markets, and brick and mortar stores throughout the city of Detroit. It's that map right there in your hand. I just saw that you guys have that map. This is what I'm referring to. And what's so great about all these markets is that you can use your bridge card there, and there's a program called Double Up Food Bucks. And I want to give a quick plug for Double Up Food Bucks, which I think it's so great that this program is today, because today is the first day of the season that we have Double Up Food Bucks at Eastern Market. And so if you are a bridge card participant, you can bring your bridge card to any of these farmers markets on that map and here at the Eastern Market on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and be able to double your dollars up to $20. So you will get an additional $20 to spend on Michigan-grown fruits and vegetables. And that's a great way for bridge card participants to increase their purchasing power and to increase their fruit and vegetable consumption, which, as Ashley and Jerry pointed out, and James also pointed out, where's James, is so important for our health, right? And so that's a really a great way that we all partner together to really make that happen. And so, yeah, so I saw the time, so I'm gonna close out there. And so I'd love to answer any other questions about the different programs that Eastern Market are running or Detroit Community Markets are running in the question and answer time. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Myles. the best?
What we're going to do is we're going to take questions. So if we'll have our panelists come up here. And the other thing is while we assemble, I want to have the Cures faculty stand for a minute, if you would. If you're a Cures person, if you could stand up. Thank you. Let me just tell you, these people are genius, just so that you know. Genius. And the other thing that I just want to make mention, one of the things that I've become very interested in is the concept of willpower, because there was, Myles had mentioned the issue of choice. And what I come to realize is that knowledge of the right road doesn't ensure that the right road will be taken. A lot of times we know what we need to do, but we find that we don't do it. And one of the things that can help you do that is to make sure that you get your rest. Because when our brains are fatigued, we have a tendency not to make the best decisions, right? And everything that you expose yourself to, every word that you hear, every image that you see, every conversation that you have, there is a metabolic cost to you for that, because your brain has to process that information. Some of those things will be on your path, some of those things will not be on your path. So pay attention to the things that you're willing to expose yourself to, and make sure that you get your rest, and that will help you make better decisions in the moment, okay? All right, so with that, are there any questions? Oh my gosh, look at the hands. We'll start here. Oh wait.
That is on the 11th, and again, the second best day of the year, other than the first best day of the year, which is the annual tour of urban gardens and farms, which is Wednesday. See, we got some head shaking. It is the best day of the year. Wednesday, August 5th. It starts here. Reservations begin on the 1st of July, and that is about 40 gardens featured, 6 buses, 5 bike routes, a beautiful meal afterwards. It's really an event that if you haven't been to, that you need to get all your family and decide to go.
We had another question in the back here, and then over here.
You stated earlier that the best way to clean the system from lead is to eat a lot of green leafy vegetables. Now, there's blood thinners that are limited on the green leafy vegetables they can eat because of vitamin K. What are the next best ways?
I am woefully underqualified to answer that question. Is she saying someone else can? Oh, yes. So the question is that I said earlier that eating green leafy vegetables will help your body combat the effects of lead and other contaminants in the environment. But there are some people that are on blood thinners that are limited with the amount of green leafy vegetables that they can actually consume, that their body can process. And what is an alternative if that's the case? And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm underqualified to answer that question. But you are.
How about that? First of all, not to take too much time about that, but part of the issue about the absorption of lead is that when you are behind in your diet on other minerals, and your body is trying to grab those minerals, if those minerals are not present and the lead is, then you will absorb the lead. So as you improve your nutrition quality in general, you will cut down on your absorption of lead. Also, in that regard, not all green leafy vegetables have the same amount of vitamin K, which is the issue about blood thinners. And so you can educate yourself about which green leafy vegetables have more vitamin K, less vitamin K, but the overall goal is to try and improve your consumption of important minerals so that you grab those instead of the lead. Okay?
Thank you.
How'd I do? Thank you very much. Okay.
I
I'm very much interested in eating more vegetables and more fruit. Unfortunately, what happens is there are times when the organic vegetables and fruit are not available and you have the conventional. I want to know how to clean the dirt, the soil, perhaps any pesticides or anything else that may be on the conventional without paying $10 a quart for some veggie wash that I find in the supermarket. Is there a less costly way in which I can do this?
Anybody want to?
I'll take a shot at that. I'm not sure if I'm going to answer it to your liking, but during the course of our season here in Michigan, what we promote is food preservation, so that when fruits and vegetables are not growing, we can go to our storehouse in our freezer, in our cellar, and still have access to fruits and vegetables that are non-toxic. We recommend that you scrub everything with your scrub brush. And, you know, I use the warm, sudsy water to scrub my carrots, my squashes, things like that. I have a really good scrub brush. And that will remove some of the undesirable chemicals or whatever. And then you have different products that have different skins. So a squash is kind of a thick skin. An eggplant is kind of a thick skin. A cucumber even has a thicker skin that if it has been sprayed, you can peel that. Yeah. Okay, peel. You know, you can peel away that outer layer. So, but the food preservation is something that we all should be doing that they did way back when to help us get through times when access is a problem.
Are veggies grown here at the farmer's market free of pesticides and other contaminants? Need we be concerned about them?
So that's where you need to have a relationship with your grower, with the farmers. So talk to the farmers and ask them, what are your growing practices? They will tell you. You know, in Detroit, under the Garden Resource Program, where we have over 1,400 growers around the city, farmers that are urban farms, market gardens, school gardens, churches, we're not using anything. And the Grown in Detroit booth, which is in Shed 2, that's organic. In Shed 2.
There are also a lot of lists on the internet that list those crops that usually have the most exposure to pesticides and herbicides, like apples, unfortunately, are really hard to grow organically, and then the least. So there are some that you really, you should have a top 5 list, the things that you are really careful about making sure you source organically. And then there are also some homemade solution recipes online. People say adding a little bit of vinegar in the water that you wash your vegetables actually goes what? White vinegar, yep. So see this woman, she's got an amazing recipe.
See, so that means, again, resources in the community. And the list is usually described as the clean 15 and the dirty dozen, if you want to kind of search that on Google, all right?
And on the back here, the Ecology Center has this thing that says the pesticides that have the most, or the produce that have the most pesticides: apples, celery, strawberries. Oh, there's some organic strawberries at Grown in Detroit today, just so you know. It's on the back of the table.
All right, we have some questions. We have here and then here. You guys have a lot of questions. That's awesome.
Where's the question? There's one right here.
You go, I think here and then here. Here, right here.
This question is for the representative of Eastern Market. I live like less than 6 minutes walking here. We don't get enough information as to what's going on. Is there a cure for that?
A cure. I like her. She's hired.
Well, the question was, she lives she says she lives 6 minutes walking distance away, and she is wondering how she can get more information about what's going on here. And so this is a great plug for our, there's many ways, electronically and non-electronically, but this is a great way for me to plug our new website with our new logo, which I'm sporting right here, easternmarket.com. And we have, if you were on the old website, I'm sorry, because it was really hard to navigate. But this new one is great, and we're keeping it up to date with what's going on here at the market. I will also, you also have that flyer that Carrie provided with you with a list of all the different markets that are happening here throughout the summer and throughout the year. And there's always special events going on here at the market too, which we use our website to update. Whenever you, if you need a paper copy of what's going on, please stop by the Welcome Center here or by our office on the corner of Wilkins and Russell, and we have copies of the with information of the events that are happening here at the market.
Where's Shed 1?
So Shed 1 used to be over where the parking lot 1 and the 75 highway are. Shed 1 used to be there, and then the highway, the people that built highway, the Department of Public Transportation thought that it would be a great idea to put a highway through our between our meat market and our vegetable market, and so Shed 1 is no longer there. So that's the technical place where Shed 1 used to be. So there is a business right here on Russell that calls themselves Shed 1. But they are not one of the market sheds, Eastern Market Shed ones. But there is a great business there. He sells some plants and pottery, and he calls himself Shed 1.
Did you guys talk about cures and what it means for community involvement? That's the acoustics in here. That's not me.
Can't hear you.
Did you guys, I came in a few minutes late, did you guys talk about the importance of cures and what it means to the community?
Ooh, maybe we get.
Yes, we did make a statement about that, but hold on, because you're involved, aren't you, with the Community Advisory Board?
Yes.
Yes.
I do want community to understand the importance of the work that's being done.
So come on and
by
say
cures.
something. Say something.
No, we have all these brilliant minds in here. We can use them, can't we?
So she's interested in someone just talking about cures. I wonder where Banked is. Banked? Yes. Would you be willing to talk about cures for a minute?
It was part of his vision.
It should really be a community advisory board, but okay, I can say something.
Yeah.
No, who's got a mic? Sorry, Louise.
The man behind the mission.
Thanks, Banked. Hey.
No. It's a real pleasure being here, and I'm just here to learn, and it's so exciting to hear everything going on. But CURES is really a group of researchers in Wayne State, and we discussed a lot with different kind of community organizations that we need to do something to understand how does the environment of Detroit and the changing environment affect health. So we brought together a lot of researchers at Wayne. We got to met a lot of wonderful people in the community, put together this program, got funded from National Institute of Health, which is very, very hard today. But they say Detroit is unique in the country. Something is happening here that's happening nowhere else, and we're going to fund you for this. So we have funding now to look how pollution affects health, stress affects health, violence affects health. Together with the community, we do different kinds of studies, and we also try to see then what can we do to improve situations. So this meeting, for example, this bringing together the community today is to learn within the community, but also for a researcher as us, to learn, what is going on here, how can we tap into that resource. And we want to grow this. We have now looked at, we want to study, for example, what happens with light rail, and we also want to make more projects with the community. So if you have any issues you're interested in, come to us, discuss with us, and we will see if we, together with the community, can address this. Do a study, try to see how does this factor in environment affect health, what can we do to impact it. So it's very, very basic scientists, you're sitting there over the bench doing stuff that's kind of boring. And then you have trying to take this knowledge and do something with the community. Can we actually influence and improve public health? And that's really the overall meaning of all this research. Together with you, how can we improve the health and well-being of Detroit and become a leader in the States? Thank you.
Thanks, Banks.
Yeah, really, if you look at health and health outcomes, we think that about 40% might be due to lifestyle, maybe 40% might be due to environment, with 20% maybe being due to, secondary to access to healthcare. So when you talk about environmental exposures, that becomes very important for improving your health. And I'm gonna tell you, here in Wayne County, we have a lot of ground to make up. We really need to do much better. So this effort, the vision is very important. Your presence here is very important because we recognize there needs to be much more communication between those who are doing environmental health and the community. And this is the effort to try and connect those. And so I appreciate you making us go over that again, because it is so key that we make sure that the researchers are addressing the needs of the community and communicating it in a way that we can all do better. And that's really the goal of this particular effort. So I applaud the team for doing that. I think it's wonderful. I applaud you all for coming out here today and for being engaged in your questions, which I think are really on the mark. Yes?
I have a comment and a question for Jury. I love your program. I'm a registered nurse, and my background is at the hospital, but recently when I retired, this is what I see in the community. Mr. Hamby, you do have a lot to do in the environmental community, especially what I see right now. This is my first time to see it, but I love your program. But my question is, are you gonna, there are some small churches around the area, within the Detroit area. Are you planning to expand your program where they're gonna train? Because I see some people who might be interested, but nobody is training them.
So I thank you for that question. Just last week, a group of growers got together and we said that very thing. We need to take our show on the road, if you will, and have some listening sessions in community involving some of the churches, some of the community groups to talk about the benefit of why we do what we do and how it enriches community and it provides opportunity for community in terms of health, fitness, and employment. So yes, we have thought about that, because when we look around the city and we still see a city where people are not fully engaged in this food movement and this health movement and understanding how it changes the overall quality of your life, we need to get into community on the ground and start that conversation and build it out. So it's happening. Thank you.
So I just want to have a final applause for our presenters today. Thank them so much for coming out. Also to Carrie who is phenomenal in putting all this together, making sure that we do all the stuff that we're supposed to do. To Drew over there, who is the sound man, right? Who tried to make sure
Thanks,
you can
Drew.
hear us all, that type of stuff. So many people who supported this effort. We really appreciate you coming out. We will be around for a second. Shed 2, right? To support some of the vendors. We really appreciate you coming out today. Any final
Yeah, a
comments?
final note. If you fill out your evaluation and take it to one of the 2 back tables, they'll trade you for a lunch. Also, if you know of any environmental health groups that we should be aware of, please jot that down also. And there's a card. If you would like this video shared in your community, fill it out and let us know, and we'll come to you. And thanks so much, everybody, for coming today, and to our speakers, and to Easter Market. Thank you, thank you, thank you.